Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel once again. In today's video, I'm gonna show you how to cook sticky rice and crispy pork as well as chili paste. This is one of the main meals in Laos, and in order to have this kind of meal, it needs one whole day to prepare because sticky rice dough needs to be soaked at least 4 to 5 hours or overnight in order to be able to steam it. And before we soak it, we have to rinse it for several times, and in this case I'm gonna rinse it for 2 times, and then I'm gonna soak it for 3 hours, and I'll see if it is ready to be cooked or not. Sometimes it depends on the grains of rice. It can be overnight or several hours. There we go. And next I'm gonna go to Chinatown where I'll get my Asian ingredients. At this supermarket called Lun Fuan is where there are a lot of Thai imported products. Can I get this? One? Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's fine. Thank you. And here I got red chili imported from Thailand as well as the pork belly. So I'm gonna make the chili paste and the crispy pork. So two of these cost me £9, which is not too bad. So first I'm gonna rinse the pork and wash it several times, and then I'm gonna bring it to boil for half an hour. This depends. Some people will boil it for 20 minutes, some would boil it 15 minutes, others would boil it up to 1 hour, but for me I prefer boil it for half an hour. And before I boil it, of course, I'm kind of seasoning it with salt and kaffir lime leaf as well as the lemongrass. Then I'm gonna turn on the high heat and put the pork belly in the pot and let it boil for 30 minutes. And now it's time to make the chili paste. So first I'm gonna clean the chilies, pick the stems out, and then I'm gonna roast it with garlic. And then I'm gonna pound it in a mortar. And now it's time to roast our chilies and garlic. So I'm gonna roast it for 8 to 10 minutes until it's well cooked. And by doing that, I'm gonna cover the pot to let the heat stay inside, and it's gonna cook it properly. And while my chili is being roasted, I'm gonna go ahead and prepare my mortar. So first, I'm gonna seasoning it with salt, and then I'm gonna add the seasoning powder. The seasoning powder is gonna help with the flavor as well as to help with the spices. And now our chili is almost done, so we're gonna keep cooking it a little bit more and keep it covered. And now it's done, it's ready to be pounded. And now our paste is ready, so I'm gonna add a little bit of lime juice. This is just personal preference. You don't have to add it if you don't like the sourness. I think the pork looks good, should be done. Yeah, it's good. And now I'm gonna drain the pork and leave it on the side until it's cool, and then I'm gonna poke it as much as possible using fork. So in order to make it very crispy, we have to poke the skin as much as possible. You can use knife or some other sharp materials, but I prefer using fork because it's softened up after 30 minutes of boiling. And here I'm gonna apply salt on it. So the more salt you apply on, the more crispy it will become, but because I don't like it salty, I put a little bit of salt. And after that, I'm gonna bring it to dry in the pan like this. The reason that this meal takes one whole day to prepare is the pork itself needs at least 1 day to be dried in the sunlight after you poke it. But because in London we don't have enough sunlight, so I decided to dry it on the pan like this. So yeah, as you can see, it sticks in the pan. So I'm gonna do that and turn it over several times until it's properly dried. Okay, now I'm gonna leave the pork on the side and leave it cool down, and then I'm gonna slice it and deep frying it. Now it's time to cook our sticky rice. So first I'm gonna add water in the steaming pot, and then we're gonna drain our rice one more time. So in this case I'm gonna drain it twice to make sure that the starch are out. Then I'm gonna drain the rice into the steaming basket that I bought from home, and I'm gonna make sure that all the rice go into the basket, just like that. And before we bring it to steam, just want to make sure that we drain all the water out, otherwise it will get too sticky and it's hard to eat. So yeah, it's ready to be in a pot. Now we're gonna let it cook for 30 minutes. You can cover it or not. For me, I prefer covering it. And now let it cook for 30 minutes. And now our pork is cool and it's ready to be deep fried to make it crispy. So my pot is very small, and by frying the whole piece is not fit, so I'm gonna slice it into 4 pieces and we're gonna fry it until it becomes very crispy. And before we fry it, just want to make sure that we heat the oil in very high heat, and then we're gonna put our pork in just like that. And now we're gonna leave it deep fry until it's well done. And now our rice is ready to be turned over, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'm gonna leave it cook for another 15 minutes until it's done. In this case, you have to be a bit careful to turn it over, otherwise the rice fall off the basket. So this is how it looks like when you turn it over. So gonna use the spoon, adjust it a little bit. Looks really good, just like at home. Now we're gonna cook another 15 minutes more and then it should be done. I think our rice is done now. It's good. Stick the rice box. Put my rice on it. Make sure you use spoon to turn it upside down a little bit before you put it in your sticky rice box, otherwise it will be very, very sticky. Yeah, it's perfect. Now put it in the box. I think the box is way too small for the rice, but I can squish it in. It's too hot. Yeah, so I'm gonna use this to cover it. Now it's done. And now our pork is almost done. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take them out and drain the oil first, and I'm gonna leave it cool. So it should be a lot more crispier if I would do it at home, because like I said, it needs to be in the sunlight for 1 day. But because we don't have enough sunlight in London, so I dry it in the pan and it's not as good as it should be. So sorry, it looks like so now. Okay, so our lunch for today is crispy pork, even though it's not as crispy as I expected, but it's not too bad. And then we have jabon, which is the very typical popular Luang Prabang chili sauce that has buffalo skin in it. Very sweet and it tastes really good. And we also have this chili paste that I just made. And of course, things that I can't miss is sticky rice. Look at that. So yeah, it's gonna be a nice lunch after a long time. And this is how we eat it. So first we make the rice like a ball and then dip into the paste and then take a bite of the crispy pork. Yummy!